Snakes. Explosions. Hasselhoff.
Welcome! I'm Teek the Survivor, and this is the show where I review the horror movies you wish you never heard of. Thanksgiving. The time of year where Americans from sea to shining sea come together and celebrate one of our most beloved cultural values, excessive eating. And what better way to celebrate Thanksgiving than a movie about a gluttonous monster that swallows its meals whole and then falls asleep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we all know how this goes. Bunch of badass hunter types strolling through the jungle, led by the mighty Hoff himself. It'll probably be a half hour before we even see. Well, that was quick. See you next time. No, I'm not really getting off that easy. So we start off with this business type guy. As I'm sure you can tell, he'll be playing the self-serving douchebag in this movie. Douchebag here is nervous because he's meeting up with Gimli, who, after the War of the Ring, used his dwarven treasures to start up a multi-billion-dollar corporation. Gimli's been funding research on anacondas because they apparently hold the secret to making a serum that can cure his cancer. Of course, in the process, they had to create a giant mutant snake monster.
It's bigger, faster, stronger.
Oh, that's okay. I'm sure a multi-billionaire like Gimli can afford the appropriate safety measures.
Let's see what I can do.
You have to do better than that. You're not the one handling 60-foot snakes with massive appetites. We are understaffed and in way over our heads.
What does she mean by that?
Uh-oh. Looks like the douchebag's in trouble. Okay, so there are some concerns. Still, it looks like they've got everything under control. After all, it's not like the snake is going to go into a murderous rage if you shine the flashlight into its pen. Okay, who gave Gimli the flashlight? Well, things can't really be that bad. I mean, these are trained professionals after all. The greatest minds in their field, using the best equipment money can buy. I'm sure they know how to handle this situation.
More lights are flashing. There's a lot of movement. No, we're not killing you.
$100,000 in student loans, years of study in his field, and his job is to press the big red button. Well, Dr. Scientist presses the big red button and everything gets back to... never mind, it's still panic time. So while the scientists arm themselves with the lethalest looking Trent guns I've ever seen, the snake has escaped into the facility's giant snake-sized ventilation shafts. Upon realizing this incredibly obvious oversight, the chief of security commits ritual suicide by sticking his face in the shaft and allowing the snake to bite his head off. After snacking on the security guard, the snake breaks his mom out of the big house, then apparently sticks around to munch on one of the scientists. Dr. Heidi runs away and stands just outside the room while the snake munches yet another head. Then she goes right back inside. Brilliant people we're dealing with here. Well, Gimli is really in trouble now. Looks like it's time to call in the big gun. The man with the plan. The Hoff.
Always know the animal before the hunt.
That's right. You don't hassle the Hoff. But since the Hoff gets paid by the scene, the company calls in the B team to act as cannon fodder until the end of the act. While the B team's rolling out, we cut over to a farmer. that lives next to a multi-million-dollar research facility in the middle of the woods, and he has a goat.
He's gonna eat the goat?
Concerned for the safety of his only friend, the farmer gets his shotgun and strolls into his barn, which is filled with hay, even though it's apparent he has no actual livestock. Not finding his goat on the ground floor, the farmer assumes that it must have climbed up into the hayloft, and okay, now he's just killing time while waiting to be eaten. Fortunately, luck is on his side, and he falls through the hayloft just before the snake strikes. Lacking any sense of survival instinct whatsoever, he immediately climbs back up the ladder and falls again. And apparently losing patience with the farmer, the snake doesn't even wait for him to wake up again before eating him. The B-team arrives at the farm and immediately makes themselves at home. Considering it's a 60-foot snake with a tracking device on it, I'm not really sure why they're looking for it in the guy's living room. Oh, I'm sure they know what they're doing. These are obviously highly trained professionals. Well, they were the best they could find on short notice. The snake drops a coughed-up goat on them, and not a one of them even bothers to check the hayloft. Instead, they run outside to discover that the snake has shed its skin, along with the tracker attached to it. Apparently, Dr. Hottie didn't bother telling the idiot responsible for the tracker that snakes do that. Tired of waiting for the hunters to check the loft, the snake takes a more direct approach. Okay, what is up with the snake impaling people on its tail? I mean, you know it's a mutant and all, but that's not really snake-like behavior. Of course, neither is its insatiable appetite for heads. No, don't shoot that truck! That's where we keep our volatile explosives! The snake vanishes into the woods as the highly trained group of hunters fires wildly at it while hitting nothing. Meanwhile, Dr. Hottie and Douchebag try their best to save the guy that just got his insides rearranged by the mutant snake's machete tail. The B-team runs into the woods, conveniently leaving nobody behind to protect Dr. Hottie as she comes face to face with the monstrosity she's created. Hoping to escape death, Dr. Hottie tricks the snake into thinking it's from a different movie.
Don't move! Can't see us if we don't move.
Uh-oh, the snake isn't buying it. This looks like it could be the end for Dr. Hottie. But wait, what's that? It can't be. It is! It's the Hoff! Well, now that the Hoff is on the scene, it's time to rally the troops, gear up, and go snake hunting. While the Hoff and his group walk around the woods with the tracking device, Dr. Hottie chases the monster around in the Jeep. Lucky for them, the snake seems happy sticking to dirt roads that they can follow in a speeding vehicle. Somehow, the snake still manages to lure them into a trap, and they get into a wreck. Dr. Hottie survives, but the rest of the B-team doesn't fare so well. And because they were keeping volatile explosives in this one too, the wrecked Jeep lights up like the 4th of July. With nowhere to hide, Dr. Hottie tries outrunning the snake. Yes, the same snake they needed a Jeep to follow just minutes earlier. Diving into a mud puddle, Dr. Hottie again holds off certain death by tricking the snake into thinking it's from yet another movie. This again buys enough time for the Hoff to come in with another last-second rescue. Back at the farm, the rest of the team takes a break while Dr. Hottie showers and washes her laundry. Once her hair dries, she decides enough is enough and it's time to call in the military. Douchebag isn't thrilled with this idea, and he turns the team against her with the startling realization that the snake has been genetically altered.
And the enormous size of the spike in the tail is because of the drugs?
Wait, how did they not already know that? They were hired by a research company to find a 60-foot snake with a spike on its tail. What did they think was going on there? Oh, don't look so smug. You're not going to survive this movie, and you know it. Besides, it looks like they've got bigger problems to deal with.
The female's about to give birth.
When?
In less than 24 hours, if not sooner.
Well then, that's probably bad. Dr. Hottie still wants to call the military, but the Hoff talks him out of it. He's already put another tracker on the snake, and he doesn't want to miss out on his payday. Well, they're on the clock now. No telling how much time they have until Mama Snake gives birth to hundreds of baby monsters. They better get a move on.
Coffee?
Sure, thanks.
Guys, TikTok, Country in Peril, No Time to Lose.
Oh, I see. You've come here to apologize, have you?
No.
I hate to nag, but you're kinda on a time limit.
Oh. Wow.
Fine, whatever. Well, after squatting overnight at the dead farmer's pad, the team heads out and starts tracking the snake. With all the sharpness and skill of SEAL Team 6, they storm the snake's hideout and unload everything they have into an empty room. The snake then impales the douchebag, and the team gives him all the care and consideration you'd expect.
Leave him! There's nothing we can do! Leave him!
The two snakes escape into the water, making their way towards the big city. The Hoff disagrees, but the team decides it's well beyond time to call in the military.
Major, a situation has arisen that requires your urgent assistance. A 100-foot mutated anaconda has escaped a confined facility near Bayaton. We've been tracking it for 2 days. We've already lost 5 men. Now, our concern is for the local citizens. We need backup ASAP.
Well, when you put it like that... Back on the hunt, these expert trackers use their keen senses of observation to discover the subtleties of the snake's trail, like a 3-foot-wide path in the grass. And if that weren't enough, the snake still thinks it's in a different movie.
Its blood was on the leaves.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Meanwhile, Dr. Hottie figures out where the mama snake is most likely to hide and goes with B-Team to finish the fight once and for all. Okay, folks, it's clear B-Team isn't getting out of this movie alive, and we know the snake has 2 preferred ways of killing, so which is it going to be? Will he be impaled by the snake's deadly tail spike, or will his head be ripped from his body? Alright, everybody have your bets placed? Here we go. Damn it, I had $50 on decapitation. Well, he's done, but he's not going alone. A little grenade action will finally finish the monster off. Cripes, what was in that grenade? Is everything in this movie just more explosive? The Hoff arrives, and Dr. Hottie is all surprised that the conniving poacher kills the rest of B-Team. Turns out he's been offered $10 million to snag one of the baby snakes. After explaining his master plan to Dr. Hottie, they get into a fistfight. Because in a movie about giant snakes, the climactic scene should definitely be David Hasselhoff beating on a woman half his size. Things look bad until Dr. Hottie remembers she has a knife. Claiming victory, she goes back to get the bomb and manages to put it just far enough away from the Hoff that he can't disarm it. And because this is the 4th explosion she's been through in this movie, Dr. Hottie has finally earned her place on the TV tropes list.
Yeah, cool guys don't look at explosions. They blow things up and then walk away.
But uh-oh, it looks like somebody's there to inspect the wreckage. The mystery man picks up a completely ordinary-looking python and drives it back to Gimli. Meanwhile, Dr. Hottie burns up a box of old chemistry homework and drives off into the sunset, certain that the nightmare is over forever. There's a lot to be thankful for this year, but I'm just thankful this movie's over. I mean, you want a monster snake to cure cancer? Fine. I'll buy that. I'll even accept that this research company with virtually limitless resources underestimated their ability to contain the genetically altered horror they created, and that these idiots are the only ones they could find to go after it. But what really gets me is the snake. I mean, you've got a movie about a giant constrictor, and it never actually constricts. It spends the entire movie biting off heads and stabbing things with its tail, generally not acting like a snake at all. The only high point is that all this stupidity is offset by the Hoff, who is spectacular. I don't know if it was supposed to be part of his character or if Hasselhoff was just having fun with the role, but he is so over the top that even the CGI snake monster gives a more believable performance. Oh well, at least it's over, and I can be thankful that I never have to. Son of a bitch!
Okay. Yeah. Day after day, your life's a wreck. The powers that be just bring down your neck. You get no respect. You get no relief. You gotta speak up and yell out your grief. So back up the rules, back up the job, 'cause I'm sick of not living to stay alive. Leave me alone.
Oh. Wow.